What's happening, everybody? The Commish chiming in, taking a look. Going to be doing my picks for the week. Hopefully everybody's been looking around a little bit at the different Facebook trash talk between the Hurricane and Dustin as of right now. Looking for a little bit more feedback from maybe Doug, Derek Lehman, Derek N, Derek Mostrom, everybody who we just basically ripped apart. Good rebuttal there, Dustin, and thank you for my spell correction as well. On top of that, thought it was funny, very cool. I like it. Continue on being a part of it. I do think you guys both do have valid points. I will say that on both ends. At the same point, I want everyone to remember that literally I have probably answered at least 100 questions from everybody about the basis of the league and whatnot already. I know Eric has as well. We're here to help out on that end if need be. But let's get into some weekly picks as we go through. Game 1 and also the game of the week, we have myself, Forte Yard Dash, against Unnecessary Fisting. This is definitely a battle of the power teams, the heavyweights, the two big dogs, etc. we like to call ourselves. Unfortunately, I don't get Big Red's full team this week, so this is why he will basically say that this loss does not count if he happens to lose and all that mumbo-jumbo, etc. Although, valid point for myself, Case Keenum plays Oakland, so I might have started Case Keenum anyways over Mr. Hold on, gotta turn on my volume, culture coming in. Over Tony Romo. I'm not a Tony Romo fan. And on top of that, I know Des Bryant is pretty much a must-start, so I can't say much about that aspect to it. But basically, if I happen to win by 30 or more points, I don't think it matters anyways, which I'm gonna go ahead and go on a limb, say that I will. This will be a big game for myself because Scott's really jumping on me. And actually Derek is too. Both of these guys are extremely close, which I'll get to their game later on. But basically, if I lose, one of those guys will be neck and neck with me, so I can't do that. On the other side of things, if Andy loses, he will become tied with Pierce Brosnan if he wins with both 9-2 records. On the other side of things, Andy does have a ton more points and better overall division record, blah, blah, etc. than what Dustin does. So, nonetheless, it won't really hurt Andy that too much overall as long as he doesn't lose again, but it would hurt me quite a bit more. I am obviously going to pick myself. I'm projected to be winning by 40 points with NFL.com. Andy does have a couple nice matchups, like I mentioned, the Case Keenum. If you're not going to have Romo starting and you have to have a backup, the backup playing against Oakland is always good. Lamar Miller against San Diego. San Diego's never really been known for their defense. However, he does have a lot of tough battles this week, too. A.J. Green will be matched up against Joe Hayden. Over in Cleveland, Hayden does continue to shut people down. Pierre Thomas against San Francisco. Tough matchup overall defensively there. Pittsburgh's no slouch on defense, even though they're not great. They could contain Reggie Bush a little bit. But the fact is he is starting Durham of Detroit as well, which that's a waste. And Tony Gonzalez, speculative if he's going to be playing. So his team's a little bit hurting this week, while my team is very strong. I got Garcon against Philly, McCoy against Washington. Both those defenses stink. Both those players had huge games last time they played each other, all the way back in week 1. Also had a couple other ones. Oh, Henry, Philadelphia against Washington too. Russell Wilson's getting Percy Harvin back this week. That's going to help him out. He's actually projected to be one of the top QBs this week. I have quite a few great matchups overall, so I'm going to pick myself in the win, in the upset, over Andy. We have Dutch and Duke. If I had to pick a game of the week too, or maybe this should actually probably be the game of the week, it is between Scott and Derek, mainly because there's so much that goes into this game. The loser, I won't say is out of the divisional race, but he's probably pretty close to being out of the divisional race. As far as the actual matchup, I do like Scott overall. His team is stronger overall than Derek's, but Derek does randomly show up at different times and decides to play. I know we talk about these projections on occasion. T.Y. Hilton's projected 36 points tonight. I'm going to take the under Scott. So he's instantly going to be behind his projected total, although it won't matter that much. he does actually have a few tough defensive matchups, as Bernard's against Cleveland. Again, Cleveland's a little bit better defensively than people think. It will be interesting to see how Denver does against Kansas City with all their wideouts, as he does have Demaryius Thomas. On the other side of things, Brown's going against Detroit. Could be set up for a great game. We already talked about Jordan Reed in Philadelphia. And then he does actually have two different people tonight, as he has Chris Johnson playing as well against Indy, which Indy's defense has not been great either lately. So that's what's going on in his squad. Derek's squad, I think it's going to do well. I think he's going to have a great outing this week, probably one of his highest point scoring totals, but it is not going to be enough. Brady is not the quarterback he was last year. Ray Rice, it sounds like, is going to be starting to split more carries, and Ryan Matthews continues to go out with Danny Woodhead making a big impact in half these games too. So unless his team randomly blows up and he gets a couple of those players that scoring 30-plus points, it's not going to work. I'm taking Scott for the win. Next game, we have the Prodigy and Team 10. Team 10 looks like he does have a good starting lineup in this week. Congratulations, Jared. Ben Tate now is taking over the running back role over in Houston, so expect a big game from him, lots of carries. Cecil Shorts with Justin Blackman out should continue to get quite a few targets overall. And he does have his combo with Torrey Smith and Keenan Allen filming this week from his trade. It could be one of his high-scoring weeks this week, too. Pretty much a full squad going for him, besides, obviously, Finley out for the year. And I actually read an article, it could be career-ending. So, interesting, Jared, to think about. For the Prodigy, again, I keep going back to this Washington-Philly matchup, but he has both Griffin and Morris. Lacey's going against the Giants. Again, Giants haven't been that great. Wallace against San Diego. I still don't trust Wallace. And Alshon Jeffrey, who continues to play out of his mind against Baltimore. Baltimore's had a decent defense, but not what they used to be. This is actually going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. Overall, this particular game, I will take the Prodigy, but it's going to be extremely close battle. I think Jared gives them a good run for the money. And our next game, we have May the Sports Be With You, Derek Lehman against Jason Ferguson. Kind of been picking against Jason a little bit recently, but he's shutting me up with the victory last week. I am going to take Jason this week, basically because Derek Lehman's team just is still not strong enough overall. I don't know what's happening in that division. The division is so weak at this point. I do think Amendola has a much better game for him overall. Even though New England is going against Carolina, I like Amendola. I like Brady to start connecting with him a little bit. I don't know if it'll get him a touchdown, but it's going to give him a lot of catches. Manningham is back now, so that could give him a little bit of a boost after a kind of slide-in week last week there. Terrell Pryor may or may not play. Kind of deciding on that portion still, but Michael Floyd does not look like he's going to be playing against Jacksonville. You may want to take that note in, Derek Lehman, so you're not contributing more funds. And really, he doesn't have a bench. So if there's a couple people that do not play, a.k.a. Pryor and Floyd, who both didn't practice, or even Manningham, who limited practice, he's going to be in big trouble. Jason, on the other side of things, his team is starting to come together and get stronger. He does have Andre Brown back. Congratulations. Huge game. I wouldn't have started him last week either. Kind of came out of nowhere, but did do a great job. So look for him to continue to solidify his role in the future. Another fun fact about Jason's team, he only has one person from the 1 o'clock games playing. Evidently, he likes the late games this week, so just something I noticed. Anyways, the Giants are going against Green Bay, and he does have Brown and Nix both playing. I think the Giants have a big week this week. They might even beat Green Bay. That's how I'm looking at it at this point. So I expect that to be a little bit of a shootout. Manning in Kansas City, again, I'm interested to see that matchup. I don't think Manning does have a 35-point game or 40-point game like he has been every single week forever, but I will put him in the mid-20s. And he has enough strength otherwise with Marshawn Lynch with his trade and Graham and MJD starting to be a little bit healthy and whatnot. I'm gonna pick Jay by at least 30 points for the victory. In our next game, we have the Vinegar Strokes and Mike Ditka. I don't think Mike Ditka's gonna be putting out a full team again this week. Standard protocol, I suppose. I don't think Kyle Rudolph's going to be playing, which he has him in, and I don't know if Gresham's playing either. But he did fully practice. So unless Eric loses to a team that's not even going to start a full roster, but he can't help it, so it won't be fine. Eric should move into a tie this week with Derek L. Eric has basically redone his whole team from top to bottom from the beginning of the year, between the trades, the waivers, the drops, the ads, free agency. I mean, just everything at this point. To give you an idea, he has Nick Foles starting, Jennings starting, Deshaun Jackson starting, Hopkins starting, Gates starting, Leonard starting. Leonard starting. So 6 players he has starting he did not have at the beginning of the year. And actually, I don't know if he had Ellington either. So maybe 7. And Decker. I don't know if he's playing one player who actually had at the beginning of the year. So a lot of turnaround on his team, but he's trying to make something happen. Has to do what he has to do. I'm going to take him for the win. However, if somehow Dicka could figure out a way to start a full team, I probably would have picked him just because of how things go. But for this week, it's Mr. Helmholtz. And our final game, we have Dustin against Mike Samuels. Mike Samuels could be affected by the Percy Harvin coming back party, as we talked about yesterday, with him starting both Tate and Baldwin still. He may want to think about maybe throwing somebody in random, like Donald Brown. He's been getting some carries. Britt, maybe he has a game. Pettigrew keeps showing up all of a sudden. I think Pettigrew's better than Clay right now at this point, but he has Clay in still. Nonetheless, I don't know why I'm going there. I think Dustin wins this game in a closer battle again than people expect, because Dustin does not have that strong a team and a very inconsistent team outside of Drew Brees. He does have Cruz and Randall against Green Bay, which we talked about, maybe the Giants having a big game. I don't think Brees has as strong a game because he's playing San Francisco, or Frank Gore against New Orleans. I can see that actually being more to a mid to lower scoring game. And he has Sproles, Gore, and Brees going in that game. So a lot of little variables with his team. Mike, I just feel bad. I feel bad for his team, his injuries, for everything that's happening to him. Not going to pick him to win. I actually continue to hope he loses from here on out, as I mentioned. I'm going to pick Dustin for the win. So in the recap, taking myself, taking Scott over Derek in a big divisional battle. Going to take the Prodigy over Team 10, Rectal Renegades over Derek L, Vinegar Strokes over Dicka, and Pierce Brosnan over the final Ansa. I think at this point, the favorites, as we talked about, have kind of separated themselves from the lower tiers. And until we get into our divisional battles, which actually I guess one is this week, but then following up here in the next few, as Eric mentioned earlier, that there's not going to be a lot of challenges because all the tough teams have played each other. I want to send a reminder that the long-term free agency stops as of week 12. I wanted to reiterate that correctly again. And then, continue to drop players if you need to right now to go ahead and make up that cap room. Or wait till after week 12. Do whatever you want to. But just some different things to think about. I know when Eric initially dropped his one player, he was hoping for some repercussions from other people, and he got them, and obviously it sent through a tailspin. I could see that possibly happening again if people drop their players, but there aren't that many more big players to drop that would make that much of an impact as far as other teams go. So nonetheless, thanks guys. I will let you know if I think of anything else. This is getting a little lengthy, and I'm trying to watch this football game now. So talk to you guys later. Peace.